Municipal Water Rate Beach District, September 16th, 2021. All rise for the pledge of
Flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next is invocation. Tom, are you reviewing this meeting?
All right, I think it's appropriate that you remain seated during the invocation because most of you that do go to church know that you can either sit or kneel or stand. So I favor you have a bit of sitting during the invocation. So, will you pray? Dear Father in heaven, just as we say the Pledge of Allegiance, we acknowledge you, we say one nation under God. We ask you to be with us today and give each and every commissioner the wisdom to make decisions that would benefit the citizens of St. Johns County and its visitors, and all who enjoy our beaches and waterways. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Secretary, a roll call, please.
Commissioner Rivers,
Here.
Commissioner Way,
Here.
Commissioner Brown,
Here.
Commissioner Flowers, Commissioner West.
Great. Next item is adoption and approval of the agenda. Does anybody have any problems with or modifications to the agenda as written?
I will approve the agenda.
Second? Good. All in favor? Aye. Great. Public comment. Public?
Live again, Friends of the Summerhaven River, 9051 G. Johnson Road. I'm here today. We've got a few community members, some that haven't arrived yet. And I have letters from both homeowners associations in Summerhaven, which I will email you in support of the Friends' request today. Due to COVID and limited seating, we didn't encourage larger groups to attend. But I'm here today to ask respectfully that the court request for Taylor Engineering to do two things. The first is to revisit the sand fencing. We talked about that, gosh, I don't know, 6 or 8 months ago. At that point, the sand fencing was we felt very expensive. And it wasn't because of the labor or the sand fence, it was because of the permitting. St. Johns County has since that time gotten their own permit for the area that they've been working on in the southern portion. And I think they just got a field permit, which is a very simple process. And when I talked with Ken Craig at Taylor Engineering, he said basically he feels like it should be a no-brainer then for them to grant a simple permit for sand fencing. But the court has to request that he looks into that. So that's the first thing that we're here to ask for today. And then the second thing is that we have an Army Corps of Engineer permit. It's SAJ-2012-2400 Mod 2. It is expiring on November 24th. That just got brought to our attention, and we would love to see that permit renewed. It's a permit for sand placement, maintenance, dredging, and extension of the template, just from the original dune template down south. And I talked to Ken again about that, and he said if the permit is renewable, then he could just make a phone call to find out about that. That all it requires is a letter requesting a renewal, and he said that that would be something that doesn't cost the port anything. He would not charge. He said it takes less than 5 minutes to write the letter, and then he could forward that to Commissioner Brown, who could read it and sign it. And all that's doing is say, will you please, to the Army Corps, would you please renew this permit? So that's our second request for today. And I have one more thing, and I'll just go ahead and say this. The Summerhaven River has flowed between Pelletier Creek and Matanzas Inlet for thousands of years. It was the water route south long before the ICW was dug in the 1930s. Thanks largely due to this commission's efforts, and for the first time since 2008, I would like you to know that the Summerhaven River is flowing again from Matanzas Inlet to the Intercoastal Waterway. So,
Yeah, are you saying they dredge out the river?
pardon
Are you
me?
saying that they dredge the river to where it opens and then it goes to water?
Not with a conventional dredge, but with land-based equipment.
Have they opened the river?
The river is open.
And it is flowing. When is this over?
Yesterday.
I thought that, because I just down there recently.
Yeah, well, you know, that it had two plugs. I don't know if you saw, and one was a land bridge that they were using to do excavation with equipment and so forth. And the second one was a bird area that they could not get the sand out of because of the regulations. The birds left. They were able to get the sand out of that area. They're working on it a little bit today, but by and large, the river is flowing. There were boats going through it yesterday. So, yeah. So anyhow, thank you so much for your help with this project. And now what we need to do is, you know, to maintain and protect it and keep a good dune system in there. We would like the county to have a very proactive policy where they go down and check on it periodically. If there happens to be a breach, to fill it while it's no bigger than this podium, and to have an emergency permit on hand to do that. Because the river means so much to so many people all over St. Johns County that we've worked a long time and very hard to get this done. And so anyhow, we really appreciate all your help that the board has given us and all your support. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, are the items that Linda mentioned on the agenda?
They are not on the agenda for this month, I don't think, unless that's what you're talking about, the Summerhaven study.
No,
saying
no,
that
sir.
So they need to be added to next month's agenda can you make sure to add those to next month's agenda?
The one from Linda?
Yeah, the two Summerhaven requests of Taylor Engineering.
All right.
We're visiting the sand fencing permitting, and then also the, asking for an extension for the Army Corps permit.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Is it something that Linda had mentioned about the emergency permit in case it breaches again on the beach? And I remember when it first happened, you know, had they gone out there with a bulldozer, they would have fixed it in an hour and a half instead of this fiasco that happened. Is it possible to have a in-place emergency permit that if it breaches again, that something can be done right away without having to wait 5 years and another pile of money?
Legally, that's something that could be arranged. I would have to defer to Taylor Engineering as far as whether there's a permitting process that would be necessary on their end. But as far as arranging something internally within the district, yeah, something like that could be put in place.
That might be a pretty good idea if it's possible. Okay.
I agree that would be the right thing to do.
So we're gonna put this on the agenda to discuss this permit at the next meeting.
To discuss and vote on it.
Okay.
Yeah, because that
The Army Corps permit, that's what you're gonna discuss and vote.
That expires in November, so it's.
He has to send that out a month, and I'm sorry, not me speaking for the audience. He has to send that out a month ahead, so I calculated the next meeting, and he'll need to send it out immediately in order to get it in before the November 24th. I think the court meeting next time is,
October?
October the 19th.
yeah, so time is, and I would have come sooner, but I didn't realize it was expired. I did not know that. And I'm just gonna respond to Commissioner Wade very quickly. We had come up with a very, very simple maintenance plan for Summerhaven. I mean, you guys know I've lived here all my life, and one of the things that they need to do down there, whoever does it, is to be proactive. And what we said, we presented this to the county. I don't know where it's going, but we said, first of all, you need to have somebody down there inspecting it. And if there's a low area in the dunes, come fill it with beach compatible sand. We would love to have had them take some of the sand from the river and put it on the county lots, but there was some legal issue with that, which hopefully they can overcome. But we said, you know, proactively look at it. Then if there's a breach, go fill it immediately. We believe that there are emergency permits out there where they can say, call up and say, look, we've had a breach at Summer Haven, we'd like to bring 20 dump truck loads of sand and put it in there. We'll work on smoothing it out and doing that, but let's just, for the purposes of this storm, let's do this. Another thing that we intend to, we just wanted to get the river open first, and then we're going to ask these things, but, you know, Find does a, what they call beneficial use of spoil material on the beach every 3 to 4 years, where that they get out of the intercoastal. But when they place it, it's just a placement, and they kind of go out and go like this, and half of it goes into the ocean. So that's not really doing the dune system any good. What we would like to see them do is either find themselves or someone else, when they're dispensing of this spoil material, which is beach compatible, push it up against the dune. If they can't like form a dune in front, eastward of our dune, then at least, you know, push it up against it and don't waste that sand, it's precious. And there's something else on our maintenance plan that I'm forgetting, but I will send it to you. It's very simple and very cost effective, and it's just a matter of being proactive.
And what's the difference instead of Taylor Engineering here again, I think the fifth time in a row? Can you explain to the board the difference in beach compatible and beach quality sand?
Well, they're different grain sizes, and I'm not an engineer, but from what I've learned, they're just different grain sizes, and certain grain sizes can be put on the beach. And for instance, when they did this work on the river, they did core borings all along the river, and they have to do that. I mean, most people sit there and say, oh, well, we know where that sand came from. It came from the beach. Why are they having to do this study? But they do have to do that. They're required to do it. And it has to do with the grain size, and I believe maybe even the color and quality. As far as
Summer Haven got beach quality sand, is that
yes,
correct? And South Summer Haven is getting beach compatible sand, is that correct?
yeah, and it may be interchangeable. I honestly don't know.
I should ask that question to our engineers.
Yeah, I think it may be the same thing, but I don't know. I just know that in order for them to place it on the beach, whether it's from the intercoastal or from the Summer Haven River, that they go through a process of looking at the sand.
Are you getting the sand perhaps? Still getting the sand?
Yeah.
So the North, so anyways, the North project did get the high end, which was beach quality.
No,
Well,
so
we
it's,
have-
it's beach compatible, there's a ranking system within the Army Corps of Engineers,
Exactly.
their geology department, where it ranks the fine size, what exactly the geological material it came from,
Exactly.
and it's all around the Army Corps
Yeah,
website.
and the same, I'm sorry, the sand at the south end that they have excavated is the same sand that came from the beach as the north end.
It doesn't look like it. I mean, it's got a lot of stuff in it.
I've only been on the upper road, I've not been down on the beach. Out of that end, I can't walk that far, so, yeah. I've ridden out, but I've only been on the road here, so. Any other comments, questions? Thanks again.
Any other public comments? No. Government representative comments. Mason, are you hearing all that feedback you're getting through the speakers? Is anyone hearing it?
I thought it was a drill outside. I hear that.
Jim Piggott, City of St. Augustine. 3 quick items for you today. Start out with good news. I believe I sent out to all the commissioners. St. Augustine was selected in the top 10 in the entire United States for a voting community. Particularly proud of that because that's one thing. Normally you send applications in, we didn't do anything. but we were selected by the Vote US magazine, as one of the top 10, and one of the only community in Florida. So I thought that was, thanks for all your help and everything, and all the other arenas and what we're doing in the voting waterways. So thank you all for that. Second thing is I have a bid that we want to move forward with. We may move forward with it as well, the city, but I just wanted to let you all know with the replacing a pylon and salt run. We had 2 firms that bid on it, both of them not within the city. This firm says they can install a pylon between 4 and 5 weeks, I think sooner. And if there's an act of God, like a hurricane, if their crews go down on COVID, we had boats that were supposed to be pulling Labor Day weekend, but that got pushed back because the entire crew came down with COVID. So now that's towards the end of the month. But the cost would be, it's $125 for the pylon. It's $400 for the 3 foot by 3 foot sign to go on whatever marker number it is. And it's a $1,500 mobilization. So if you have 2 pylons, you only pay that mobilization 1 time. So I asked Corey, my deputy director, to give me a scenario. So we said, okay, we have 1 pylon that needs to be replaced, and we want a 30-foot pylon, 10 inches in diameter, with a $400 in mobilization, would be $5,650.
That's too much money, it really is, Jim, and you know that, our average price is about $1,500. When you say mobilization, now, are they promising on that contract, they're gonna stop what they're doing and mobilize their equipment then, and not when they get in the area, because that's a big.
I'm just telling you with the discussions, we actually had oral discussions with the companies after the bids. One company misread it and was thrown out because he's coming from like Tampa, and his mobilization cost is like $5,000. Right? No, that's way too much. But this was the cheapest one, and I told you we just got for bid. You don't have to use this. You can pick up the phone and call Chip Yelton. I'm not sure the signs are up yet. No, it's not rock, but they assured us that it'd be 4 to 5 weeks for the pylon, the sign, and everything.
But those aren't up, and it's.
Which pylon is it? Where is the pylon located? Which pylon is Salt Run?
No, this is just going.
No, this is just going forward. So I just, I throw that out there to you. We're probably the city will put this person under contract in case at the marina we have a pylon goes down or whatever, we can call this company without going out for bids.
And Yelton didn't bid.
Yelton didn't bid.
Because they're doing an honest thing, they're not going to mobilize, nobody mobile, it reads a $200,000, $300,000 project for a $5,000 mobilization fee, or even a total fee. What did they say in the contract that they're going, how fast would they be?
We didn't write a contract yet, we're quote unquote still in negotiations. We didn't issue an intent to award yet, because we wanted to brief you all on where we are.
I would just personally like to know what do they mean by mobilization and what time frame.
They're not from St. Augustine, so they're about to drive up from like Stewart or something. I think they're from Stewart.
This really hits home why the port should have its own equipment and have it managed privately by some company like Yelton that can just send, someone to do the labor and it's always here. Because moving the equipment, the mobilization for all the money that. Also, if we're going to start spending $5,000, we might as well put in a concrete pylon that doesn't come down every time somebody pushes it. Those are just my opinions.
So I just wanted to give you that. The city's going to move forward one way or another. So if there comes a point in time where you need something installed, we'll have a contract in hand and we can work the same way we do the other business. And then the last thing, we have with us, you guys know this, Officer Pat Harvey. He's here. He's one of 2 police officers within the city of St. Augustine who will be attending, and I'm going to mess this up, the Marine Law Enforcement Voting Course next October. So, it's the Marine Law Enforcement Voting Course next October. I'm sure I messed that up, and it's close enough. So, he's here just listening to the meeting today, and just, seeing what it possibly could be getting himself into. you have any questions for me? All right, thank you.
Commissioner Brown, would it be worthwhile for me to maybe try and reach out to Yelton and see if they can
Yes.
get something?
Absolutely.
I'll talk to her tomorrow.
Great.
I guess I'm going next. Josh Underwood from the Sheriff's Office. I have a couple items today. We brought the airboat for any of the commissioners that want to see it. We have 4 operators trained on it. It was a 2-week class that Border Patrol put on for us. We've already done 1 rescue with it. In the marsh, we had a kayak where an occupant stabbed himself with a catfish. And he forgot to put the plug in the kayak, so him and his girlfriend sank the kayak.
Oh my
And,
God.
The only way we could get to it was by the airport.
The airplane I saw flipped upside down with a airboat.
We didn't use ours because the airport was already in the water, so they were there before anybody got there. Yeah. Yeah, the airport has one for maintenance, and I believe they partner with fire to use it. But, the second thing I have is our overtime interlocal agreement expires the 30th of this month. So I just wanted to give permission from the commission to do a new interlocal agreement starting October 1st and ending September 30th of 2022. For the same amount as this year. What's that?
Say the amount.
What's that?
The amount.
The same amount of $25,000.
Since we already agreed to that in the budget, we don't need to even vote on that again.
No, it's go, what I'm doing, I put it on that budget worksheet, just the worksheet, not the actual, cases for it. But this was just a budget project worksheet that I sent and
No, but I mean, we agreed for this to continue through the 2021, 2022 budget, right?
Yeah.
So it's already, I think we already agreed. I'm just wondering procedurally, we don't have to have an agenda item for this. We can just have.
No, it's you, whatever you guys
So
are
I'll
going
make a
to.
motion to continue the same, overtime agreement with FJCSO. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Great.
All right, then the last thing I have is, last meeting I told you guys that instead of us, every different agency coming up and present a project, we're just gonna do a project with all of us integrated together to try to keep it more cost effective for the board and benefit all the agencies for the same equipment. So this will be for this following budget year, 2022. I sent the application to Lisa. I don't know if everybody got a chance to review it yet.
Yes,
This will integrate the sheriff's office boats, the St. Johns County Fire Rescue boat, the St. Augustine Fire Department boat, and the City of St. Augustine Police boat. This will provide radiation ecological detection pagers to be worn on the officers while they're on the boat to provide any signature detection while they're at special events or they're on patrol normal operations.
It's like a Geiger counter, just it sits on you and just sits
It's
for
a
radiation.
small pager. Do you have one in here? So basically how this works is this brand that we looked at is I'll pass this around to you guys, it's Accurad PRD. And basically all it does is if you get a radiation ecological detection signature, so like driving class flag or hospital, this thing will go off because of x-ray. But it'll give you the dose amount. If it starts beeping or vibrating, you can switch it to search mode, and it's got like a radar, and it'll walk you into the device. So port security thing right now is they're pushing big on rad nuke detection, preventative as DHS. So this is in line with the DHS small vessel strategy. And so basically what this will do is the guys will wear it the entire time they're underway on the boats. If they're working at any special events, they get any type of signature, and then it gets mitigated more by hazmat and Coast Guard or an explosive team to work it further. The quote that I sent you guys was for 10, and that'll be split between all the maritime agencies. These are $1,350 a piece.
wow.
And that's a total of $13,500. The other benefit to this one that we have here is you can link it to your smartphone. So if something goes off, it'll throw a code. you can take your smartphone and you can send it by email or text to a base, and it can be evaluated without actually someone coming out and trying to read it with another device.
And it just picks up radiation, is that?
Correct, so there's different models of these. You can pick up radiation, you can pick up nucleological. Those are the two. It doesn't pick up chemical, it doesn't pick up explosive. So part of the training, we actually have it going on next month. FEMA offers a maritime rad nuke course. It's an underway class, so the morning half is classroom. The afternoon portion is underway on the boats. Teaches you how to set up checkpoints, how to set up choke points, the inlet being a choke point, special events, and then if you get an alarm, they teach you how to mitigate it. So we actually have that class next week. We're doing for the county, we have Coast Guard, and then we also have the Marine Corps One Island group coming down to participate in that. So as of right now, there's 22 students from our local area that's going to
heavy.
between fire, police,
Kinda heavy.
National Park Service. So for our joint project for FY22, this is what our project we're asking for.
Okay. So do you want us to go ahead and put that on the agenda for next time? Do you all want more time to?
No, I was pitching it to you this time, that's why I sent it to Elise, so.
Okay. Elise, can you add that to the agenda for next
We
time?
can't vote on it now?
No, it's not properly noticed.
It wasn't on the agenda, I got the thing in the email, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I forwarded that to you. I didn't,
Okay, I
for
got
some reason, didn't put it on the agenda.
Yeah, that's fine, I thought we discussed we were gonna bring it up during government.
You were gonna bring it up,
Yeah,
yeah,
because I brought it up last week.
during government,
I was talking about.
right, during government comments.
Out of curiosity, picking up radiation, what is it that you're on the lookout for? To wake up a nuclear bomb in inlet, or what?
It would be inlet. It would be anywhere maritime. So radiation is a signature that can be detected with any type of mixed with explosives. So small boat target coming in, or the coastline, any form of terrorism, they're associating radiation or nucleological attacks with. So a good example would be like hospitals, x-rays, they use a lot of this new radiation signatures. If those items get stolen and then put with explosives, carried on a boat, that's how where you have that special events. There's a lot more out there that's used in the common day, like construction, medical, all that you wouldn't think about that can be.
So that's what I was asking, what else is it?
So it'll pick up all that.
And you know what you do.
I mean, I'm still not convinced we do. I have questions about the actual need. I mean, this is a pretty big chunk of money that is being requested. And, of all the threats out there, I'm just finding this to be a bit of a stretch, but maybe I'm just missing.
And I can get you guys the port security assessments for the entire United States. Rad Nuke's always been on there. It's been on there since September 11th. Rad Nuke, there is a Northeast Florida conceptual standard of procedures for the whole Rad Nuke program. That's why we have counterterrorism out of Nevada coming next week to teach this class in general. Because whether you guys fund it or not, it's still a need that we see in a maritime environment.